I know from yesterday. I wish we could like start our conversation where we were yesterday.
Just like, how do you even sum up what was going on?
Yeah, it's too bad that we can't like go back to exactly where we were. You have an idea on how to like sum up what we were talking about?
We went for a minute. We went for a real minute.
I got to work. We had that conversation, and then I like immediately went on lunch breaks. I know it went for a while.
I needed a smoothie after that conversation.
I got done, and I was like, my
okay.
My mouth is dry.
So this is Adrian. This is a coworker, someone I would consider a friend of mine. Yesterday at work, he, for some reason, sparked this conversation. How did it start?
I think so. We were talking about like, I don't know. You were making some statements about.
I thought
something.
You just came out of the blue.
And I did. I asked you. I was like, so, do you believe in absolute truth? I think is what I asked. Like, is there anything that's just
is there a thing as an absolute truth?
Yeah, I think that's what I said. Yeah.
So at the end of that, was your conclusion that there is one absolute truth, and that is the Big Bang?
I just my statement was, so basically, I think you were making statements like everything's just an opinion, right? You were saying that everything is, it's relative. You have your truth, I have my truth. And I guess my question to you is just, is that true? Because the statement that everything is just a matter of opinion and everybody has their own truth, that's a truth statement. That needs to have evidence to be backed up. And yes, I would say that my point was not that there's one truth. It's that things can be known. Right?
Things can be known as true.
Right.
So like there could be truth can be possible.
Yes. Like there is things that are true and things that are not true. For instance, like if you wanted to say like I know the sun exists. Like that is a truth statement. Yeah. Right? You can't say, I don't believe in the sun. I don't believe in the sun. That doesn't make it any less true. It's still there. Right? Yeah. So I was making a statement that things can be known. That kind of dismisses what you were saying about like, everybody has their own truth. Like, that can't be true.
But in that case, the way I feel is I'm agreeing with you that is truth to us.
Yeah.
So okay. This is so, like, I feel like I'm in some type of universe where I'm talking to Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Like the little kid with the crazy hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
alright, hold on. I should have muted that. Anyway, what were you saying?
I'm not even taking that out. So, what does it mean if I were to say, how do we know that's the sun? Like, if I were to disagree with you and say, but the only reason you call that the sun is because someone told you that's the sun.
Right. And that goes down a whole different rabbit trail. I was just using that as
right. Exactly.
But my point was, and maybe the sun isn't a good example, right? Like,
there's people that it is.
There's things that are closer to us than the sun, like that you can physically touch that nobody disputes. Like
a TV. I mean,
yeah,
right?
Like, I mean, you can't see this on there, but like, there's a TV sitting in front of us, and like, we agree that because we can sense it with our senses, that is there, right? The TV exists.
Yes.
That is a truth, right? And I guess where I would go with that is that I believe that there is evidence in the universe for a creator, right? I would say that given the evidence that exists, it shows that there is a creator. And I mean, it gets really technical, but I can probably keep it I can use at least one argument that's probably not like super confusing. So like, have you ever heard of like the argument for design or anything? Have you ever heard of any of these?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay. So like, there's this hypothetical where like, say this remote tribe, never been contacted by civilization. He's walking the beach and he finds like a watch, like a Rolex, it's like ticking. He could look at that and go, that's not a stone, right? That didn't just happen by nature. That is, it was designed by something or someone, or, you know, and it has intelligent design, right? I guess an example that you would relate to is like a Chevy 350.
Oh my God!
Like you're not gonna.
It's the best. That's the truth.
Or the 351 Windsor, you know. Ford has some good ones, but anyway, like if you were walking through the woods and you found a Chevy 350 engine sitting in the woods, nobody's disputing that just happened by random chance, right?
Yeah.
No, like
you just
there's no chance that happened, right? So, I guess my point would be that, and this goes deep into biology and physics and all the sciences, but the fact that the human body even works is an argument for design. Like I think it's like the code in like a single cell has enough to fit in like, I don't know. I don't want to over exaggerate. It was like,
no, it was a lot.
Yeah,
I know it was
a lot. I think it was thousands of books.
Yeah.
Like it was more than like the World Book Encyclopedia. You know, like a whole list of books that you had in school. It was more information than that by far. So like that can't just happen by random chance, right? If I guess if a painting has an artist, and you know, engine has an engineer or whatever, right? Then the creation, if you will, creation or the universe had a creator. I guess that's one argument that you could say, and there's pushback on that too. Like people were like, "Oh, well, it just all happened by random chance." Well, that is so, like, if you look at the information just for like how what the human body would need to exist, just that alone, not even the universe, it's so improbable for even like one aspect of that to work that like there's zero chance pretty much. Like the evidence points to a designer.
So I have one question that's going to lead off of this, but I do want to say that, I mean, you're a Christian believing in Jesus Christ. Yes. Are you a Mennonite? I mean, Mennonites are Christians in my book.
Yeah,
for me. But are you a Mennonite?
I would not consider. I don't go around saying, "Oh, I'm a Mennonite." I would say my beliefs align with a lot of Mennonite beliefs, but I'm not. I wouldn't go around waving the Mennonite flag. I'm a Christian. That's what. I think every Mennonite would say.
Yeah.
Like, I know every Mennonite would say, "I'm a Christian." Like I feel like some of them maybe do wave the Mennonite flag around too much, but like,
yeah,
you know, we have set beliefs that we stick to because we believe they're biblical. The reason we do things the way we do is because we believe they're biblical.
A lot of times you can look at a Mennonite and know it's a Mennonite.
Yeah, no, that is true.
So then there's one thing you said yesterday that it didn't really change how I feel about anything, but it did create a deep thought. The way you said that my belief, if you are correct,
yeah.
If you, I loved the way you said it because no one has ever said it that way. Nobody on YouTube, Joel Osteen, no preacher, no one has ever said this. If you're right and I'm wrong, it has eternal consequence for me.
Yeah.
If I'm right and you're wrong, there's not really a consequence there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is so oddly...
And
that can't be denied. I mean...
Yeah, no.
You can't deny that.
Yeah. And that's just if... I would not use that as evidence to believe in a God, right? That just gives you evidence that you should... Or not evidence. That gives you a reason that you should be taking it seriously. Right?
Yeah. So
like, you should be thinking about it critically. And that goes for me, too. Like, if I'm wrong and the Muslim's right, I'm going to hell. Right? But if...
That's a lot of people that could be wrong. Like,
oh yeah,
you know how many beliefs could be
that's why
wrong?
Christians have missionaries. We care about this. The implications of us not spreading the good news, like the gospel message, is kind of serious. Like, and the Muslims do that too. Muslims have their own missionaries.
So, is the missionary's job to try to spread our beliefs to them, or is a missionary someone that has to understand I'd put me in that category, the Christian belief, and they're trying to understand the Muslim belief to then be like, okay, that actually makes more sense. Is that what's going on, or are we just trying to transfer our Christianity to them?
Okay.
Because that's a lot of different belief systems that could be wrong.
No, so a lot of times missionaries will go to other countries. Like, say if they go to, like, say if a Christian went to a Muslim country to evangelize, right? They're not necessarily, like, they're understanding the culture, they're adapting to the culture, right? But they believe the gospel message is true, right? They're going under that presupposition, if you will, that belief. And they're going to bring people to Christ. That is their goal, right? It's to love people.
So we're going to steal from
in
their
way.
belief.
Yeah, and Muslims will do the same thing. And I went to a Muslim mosque, and they were upfront about it. Like, they were like, yeah, that's what we do. And I'm like, okay, like, if you believe that's true, okay, for instance, if you believed that your belief was the only way of salvation, wouldn't it be, like, kind of rotten of you to hold on to it and not to tell anybody? Like, if you
That'd
believe...
be selfish, right?
Yeah. Like, you
should...
should...
Because sharing it doesn't hurt you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, people kind of push back when you do, sometimes, but it's not out of a, you're doing this wrong, it's out of a, this has eternal consequences.
Yeah.
And actually, Christianity, I don't know about Islam, but Christianity has, like, or the Bible has verses in it that tell the Christian, it's not just a missionary's job to do this. It's every Christian's job.
Yeah, I've heard that at church and stuff.
It's every Christian's job to spread the gospel. So it's not just a missionary, I have to go spread the gospel now. It's everybody's job.
So I've gotten in this deep with Glennon and Dexter. Mm-hmm. We went in this deep.
Yeah.
So my belief is not tied to any certain specific thing. And I am just as bad as every other American, except I do one thing that most people don't do. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to tell you I believe in God when I know deep down I don't, because I don't. Because I feel like this God thing is so hard for me to, because I'm as bad as everyone else. When stuff gets really bad and I got stuff going on and I'm like really, really down, I'll pray.
Yeah.
All Americans pray. And then, like, you get the millions or you get hired onto a job or anything, you just stop praying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just as bad as everyone else.
And that's not what true Christianity is. I feel like that's mainstream Christianity. Yeah. I agree with you. That's what people do. Yeah. And it's so sad.
I do it.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
That's what people do, and that's not true Christianity. There is people out there. Nobody's perfect. Let me be very upfront and honest about that. No one is perfect. However, there is people out there that, and this is how I try to live my life. There's people out there that that live a Christian life regardless of the situations they're put in. Yeah, they stumble, they fall. That's not what Christianity is. Christianity isn't not sinning, right? Everybody is going to sin. Everybody makes mistakes. But Christianity is like, it's unique from every other world religion, unless I'm missing one. But it's unique from every other world religion in that it's not works based. You cannot do anything good enough to deserve heaven. No one has ever been perfect enough except for Jesus.
Yeah.
He was perfect.
Yeah.
You cannot do a single thing to deserve heaven. It is simply by faith. Oh, it's by grace, God's grace, and then by faith alone. It's different from every other world religion. Like Muslims, for instance. Muslims have to fast during Ramadan. That's like a whole month. They have to fast during that whole month. They have to pray 5 times a day. They have to do that like every single day, regardless where they're at. They have to do it. They have to face Mecca. They have to take a pilgrimage, I think it is. It's like the 5 pillars of Islam or whatever. And then even if they do everything perfect, they have no assurance of their salvation. Even the best Muslim does not know if they're going to heaven or not.
So it's when you, because I see it the way it's been portrayed in movies, like American movies as you grow up.
Yeah.
When you say you're praying to God, as crazy as it sounds, in my mind, I'm like, do you like just see a guy up there that controls everything? Because that's how movies and life and everybody makes it seem. The way you look
all
up,
Hollywood
the way
movies,
people
like
bow,
you look up and you see God.
people bowing,
Yeah.
like it. Because it's so hard for me. Okay. I don't disagree with all Christianity things because I firmly believe in a lot that the Bible says. Like, first, treat others how you like.
Yeah, the golden rule.
Yeah, treat others how you'd want to be treated.
Yep.
I believe in like aura, like if I do everything right, it can't go that bad for me. Like if I treat people right, if I'm honest, if I tell the truth, if I do all these things, there has to be a good or like good karma. There's got to be a good karma.
I would word that a little different. I agree with you, but I would call it like because you're following, whether you know it or not. I think there is blessing in following the commands of the Bible. Like I think it is a better way. I've heard. I don't know if he was a Christian or not, but I've heard people say like, regardless of if you were religious, the Christian lifestyle is still the superior way of life. Like it brings more fulfillment. Like you're better off in life, regardless of if you like believed in a God. If you followed like the commands of the Bible, you'd be better off as like just living life. Like it'd just be better.
Yeah, but then to me it comes down to things like one, cursing.
Yeah.
I get so much fulfillment from using curse words the right way at the right moment.
Yeah.
Is it like, it's like, you're not going to see many Christians just get out of church and be like, you know, GD, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Or, hell yeah! Like,
yeah.
You're not technically supposed to, that's dirty talk.
Yeah. And again, like, it's not what Christianity is. Like, yes, Christianity does have the works aspect, but like, you know, and it does have that aspect. If you do have true faith, your works will follow. Like you won't be cussing, right? You shouldn't be cussing.
Yeah.
Right? And you won't want to. That's the difference. Like once your heart has been changed, you won't want to. You don't want to do the things that God has commanded you not to.
That's the other thing. Like how
I guess
how do you just choose that? Like how? Because I expressed it this way to Glendon one time. Mm-hmm. He did not agree with me. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like you just become a Christian. Like I feel like you're just always trying to be. You never will be. Your life is trying to be that Christian. Like how do you just like people that go to church, pass out, wake up, and they're just like that they met him, they're here, all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But what if that happens to me, and I hear a rap song come on that's literally talking about drugs, sex, hookers, and it's got a good beat, and I'm like listening to it, having good. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be listening to this, but I love the song so much.
Yeah.
Like
okay, I understand what you're saying, and it's not like for some people they'll say, oh yeah, it was a 9-day difference. They got off of drugs, they quit everything immediately, and they went and followed Christ. And some people struggle with that stuff, right? It's different per person. But the difference is that once you do believe that Jesus is who he says he is, and you understand the implications of that, you don't want to sin anymore. Like, yeah, you might hear that catchy song and you might start vibing to it for a second, and then you're like, and then you remember, you're like, what's my goals? What is my goal as a Christian? Like, it's not to say you don't enjoy that anymore. And also, there's like, you know, you can still listen to good music. You know, I would say that I do listen to music with good lyrics. I would say that good music still does exist, but I know what you're saying.
For sure, it does.
Yeah.
But there's some songs in my playlist you don't want to know about. You know?
Yeah,
I love them.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it's not that doesn't go away immediately. It's just that your priorities change. Yeah. Your priorities change. It's that simple. I guess my question to you would be like, what? So, is it that do you believe in a God? Do you believe that God exists? I guess.
It would be wrong. It's so, when you ask people this, I I believe 96% of people will say yes.
Yeah. No,
And I want
that's
to say
America,
yes.
though. That's America.
But
That's not like
I
and that's only
can't-
that's not, like we live in the American South.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
that's not true. Like I don't like. Am I believing in a past tense God that? Because I watch a lot of Joe Rogan, and
Yeah.
the amount of people that have come on Joe Rogan's thing and said, "Look, if you write a book right now, look, man, 10,000 years that book ain't gonna be that book." So it's like so hard for me to believe that Bible could have anything in it from how long ago it was supposed to have been written. Like,
yeah,
and
and
then
that's
the
a
other
valid
thing,
point
like,
that people bring up, and that's a whole topic. Oh my goodness.
what was the Big Bang the creation of existence, or because we have proof in the ground that dinosaurs or some other creatures, huge creatures, existed? Humans didn't exist with them, right? That I know of.
Under the evolutionary perspective, no, they did not.
So,
But that's all how the Earth came to be. There's tons of speculation on how that happened. I'm just saying the Earth, the universe, time, space, everything had a beginning, and that's agreed on by atheists and like Christians and Muslims. Like that's agreed on that the universe had a beginning. Like,
but that beginning had to be as an example, because dinosaurs were before us. So as an example, like God didn't start like, because Adam and Eve obviously weren't the first. Like there were other things here before that.
mm-hmm.
So did he stop all that and then create us? Because we had cavemen before Adam and Eve, right?
Under the evolutionary perspective, yes. See,
so what is the Christianity explain?
Okay, no. So this varies between who you talk to, and I'm I do have my beliefs on this, and I'll be willing to tell you I'm personally I lean towards creationism, which is a 6-day creation, and this will be like, oh, people will be like, oh, like how could you believe that? Like the evidence, like the universe shows that it's older than how creationists say it is and stuff. And I guess my simple answer to that, and I haven't figured this out. I'm not, I don't have infinite wisdom or anything, but my thought to that is like, if God is infinite, God can design the universe however He wanted it to. Like, He could put, if it looks like it's like a couple million years old, could He have not just created it like that? Like, is that possible? I think it's possible.
I've never
it's
heard it said
speculation.
that way neither.
It's speculation. I think that any talk of exactly how the universe was created is speculation. I personally believe that, like, I do lean towards creationism and how the Bible portrays it. Like, but I'm not that. I was just listening to a debate between a like hardcore atheist and a Christian apologist today, and
that had to be a roundabout.
no, they're very professional. This is not like American politics. It's like
I don't know anything about American politics.
Well, like their debates are always like so like fighty. This is not like that. But he was saying like, it was like an early church leader was talking about how like the days of creation could be symbolic, like, and this was before Darwinism. Like this was before evolution. Theory was even thrown out, and he was talking about how it could be symbolic, and it actually could have been a way longer process. He didn't have any incentive behind saying that, but that idea was thrown out like 1,500 years ago. So like, that idea has been thrown out. It's not like crazy, but I do lean towards 6-day creation. That's just my opinion. So that's not the important thing though. The important thing is the reason I believe that, and I can believe that, is because I believe the evidence points to there being a God, right? Like, I believe the universe, like, the evidence in the universe points to there being a God. Specifically, I believe, this is a whole different argument too. I believe that evidence points to the Christian God. But that's a different argument. I guess you talked about how you don't think the Bible could be accurate after, hundreds of years. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean,
Thousands of years. And I do understand that. However, it is one of the most well-kept books. And the reason we know this is because we can go back to the ones like we have super old Bibles, right? And there has been like people that messed the word up, got a phrase wrong. People have purposely messed with it even. But the thing is, we can find those because we have more copies like that are older. So we know like what years they came out. It's super interesting actually.
But it all came from one book, like
no, it did not. No.
So there's never just one Bible.
No, there was no. That's not how the Bible was given. So the Bible is a compilation. So that specifically, let's talk about the New Testament. The New Testament is literally letters that were written to different churches. So like Galatians. I don't know if you know any books of the Bible, but like they're all churches' names actually.
Are you talking about
like cities names. And it was written to like specific churches in these cities by Paul. Most of them, or lots of them, are by Paul. And it's super interesting.
No. I'm kidding. So
no,
are you talking about like
not that
Philippians
Paul.
or something? That
Yeah.
would have been written to.
That would have been written to a church. And the reason we have so many copies of these is because they were written, and then they were copied by the churches, and they were circulated around. And it wasn't until like maybe was it like 300? Like it was one of the councils of it was Council of Nicaea. I'm throwing names out there. I don't remember which one it was. But they sat down and there was false text running around. Like there was a book of Thomas, which you're like, oh, he was one of the disciples. Well, they just grabbed the name and threw it on the book. It was like stories of Jesus growing up, and it was obvious. Like it had obvious signs of being like fabricated.
Yeah.
So we have all these texts, and we can get it down to like we know that we have found text within like eyewitness testimony lifetimes. Like we have texts that are unaltered that existed in the eyewitness lifetime possibility of these people that lived. So they could have possibly seen the resurrection and then seen the text. And if that would have been a false text about Jesus' resurrection, there would have been so many people that were just like, red flag, that's false, and they would have called that. Like, and there's many of these, right? Well, okay, we don't have many of them that we have today, but this was a heavily circulated text. So I'm just briefly covering this. I'm not doing a very good job at this, but like, if you look into this, biblical inerrancy is a very interesting topic. Like, we have proof that the Bible is like the same text as it was.
So you're saying that the Bible was like it was all these letters put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the letters were sent out,
and that's not
before the Bible.
Before
the Bible became the Bible.
Right. Yes. So
you're telling me Jesus didn't write the Bible?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. No, Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Let me get to that. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Those are called the Gospels, and those are written by the disciples. And all the New Testament was too. I think all the New Testament. Yeah, all the New Testament except for Paul. Paul wasn't technically a disciple, but all the New Testament was written by the disciples, and the Gospels are what Jesus said. So have you ever seen a red letter Bible? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, with like certain things in red.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the New Testament, that all the red letters are Jesus's words. So that's in the Gospels, right? So the Gospels are literally what Jesus said. Like we have what Jesus said in like, and we can, and that's in the Gospels. We can like see.
That's not in every Bible. Why is it?
It's not. That's something that came that was somebody's idea just to highlight what Jesus said. It's just.
Well, I like that.
It's pretty cool. I agree. I like it, but it's not. That was not a big important thing or anything. That was just like a.
I remember. I don't know if I've ever seen that in person. I've heard people talk about that. I've never had a Bible like that though. That's kind of funny. I remember.
Yeah, it keeps. For me, it just keeps it from like getting like if I wanted to just be reading what Jesus said, it's easier to find the conversation or something. Like it's not.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's just a.
Well,
convenient
that's a big
thing.
difference in what Jesus said and what someone else said.
Well,
To me, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's a,
yeah, yes, but if you read through the Gospels, it's what Jesus said in relation to what somebody else said up here. Like he's talking to him, so it's like conversation wise, and then it's like all the parables and stuff, like the stories and stuff. Like that's it helps you to depict that and stuff and understand that better, in my opinion, a little bit. But yeah, I guess and we got off topic here a little bit, but let's see. I mean, do you have any other questions about how the Bible?
I have.
Did I do a very good job at explaining why the Bible?
You explained a lot, but it's stuff that I'm not going to pick up like that.
Yeah, no, it does. It does take a little bit to study it and understand.
I know at the church that I, like everyone else, sometimes attend, and the Bibles I have and the Bibles that everyone I know uses, to my knowledge, is King James the Third, or King James Version.
King James, yeah, that's just a version.
What? Okay, so what does that mean? That version? What is that? What is King James Version? What does that mean?
That's a good question. So
in the Bible, Bible,
and
right?
This is something. Yeah, no, you're right. The Bible is the Bible, unless you're Mormon.
So, what is the King James Version?
No, so Muslims would point to us, like the Christians, having multiple versions and being like, yeah, y'all's text is obviously tampered with.
I mean, that makes sense if you're them looking at it up.
And this is like a controversial, like they would not agree with this, but they do, like, and they don't know, some of them don't know it, but there is different versions of the Quran floating around. They would claim that they just have one version. One version.
The Quran.
Yeah, and what they say is, like, if it ever gets translated, it's not the Quran. So if you read the Quran in English, that's not the Quran. Yeah. You have to read it in Arabic, even if you don't understand it.
Arabic or Arabic? How do you say it?
Arabic.
Well, that's wild, because if you write down Spanish and translate it,
right. So when you're translating Greek and Hebrew, and I'm not. Did you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast with Wes Hoof? That's a good pod. You should listen to that.
Go
listen to that.
How recent? Because he might have multiple with that guy. There are a lot of people.
I'll look it up as you're.
There's a lot of people he has repeats.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason we have so many different versions is because we translated it to English. And when you translate Greek and Hebrew into a different language, you have I guess what my point is. Yes, we have all these different versions, but if you read what they mean, like if you read the conversations, it's just like, for instance, have you ever compared versions? Okay, so like King James is like written like a long time ago, and so it's written in like Old English. So for me, it's harder to read and understand.
Yeah, like thou shalt not.
Yeah, thou shalt not. Yeah, stuff like that. And then if you get like the NIV, it would be like it's a newer translation into a newer version of English. So it's like it says the exact same thing, but just in an easier way to like read it.
Are you saying in 20 years the Bible's gonna have like LOL and WT like?
Okay.
Are they gonna translate to
you say that, but somebody created the Gen Z version, which I do not like. I do not think that's like. It's somebody created it kind of to be funny. I think
it makes sense,
and it's like that's like no cap. Like Jesus, like yo, like
oh no cap.
Like that. It's I'm not kidding. That exists, but
Solomon had these O's.
Okay, I don't think he said that. But that does exist. I don't really back that, because I think that I've read a little bit of the Gen Z, and it paraphrases stuff. It doesn't say it exactly how it says.
Well, I reckon in a way you kind of have to as language changes.
Yes, but it doesn't it takes away from the meaning in the Gen Z.
Because you would think if you're
if for instance, there's a version that I would use every once in a while on here, and it so simplifies it. It takes away. I think it's called the Amplified, or maybe it's called the Message. I think it's called the Message.
Saying it simplifies it too much?
Yeah, like it takes away from the meaning, it simplifies it, so it paraphrases it. Like, it's like if Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, it would say like, Oh, that sounds pretty straightforward.
That makes sense though. That
it would paraphrase it to the point where it would almost take away from like the meaning. I think you could read through the Message translation and you get the point, but it's like you'd be better off using an older.
I feel like it's a difference of love thy neighbor as thyself, and then it goes to love your neighbor as yourself.
Right. And so there's all these different versions of the Bible, like you said, King James Version, NIV, New King James Version, all these different versions. If you read the text, they say the same thing. They get the same message, like the point across. They're not like a different gospel. They're not saying like you have to do this to be saved, right? That doesn't change. It's the same text. It's just that it's saying it in a different like way, like it's a more understandable way. Sometimes it's a more confusing way. So and then we have these versions that we agree with more sometimes. Like when I say we agree with more, we agree like the way they were translated is a more reliable like way of translating. And it would get the meaning across better. I think like ESV, and this is like a whole topic, but the point is that the message is still the same with the Bible across the different versions. Except you do have like the Mormons, which add a book of the Bible. Like they add the Book of Mormon.
They add a book.
Yeah. They add the Book of Mormon.
Oh. Okay.
Book of the Bible. Sorry. You have the Bible, and then you have the books of the Bible. You have 66 books in the Bible.
So how far away from the Bible is King James Version? Like,
you're saying like Greek text?
Okay, so the Bible is in Greek.
It's in.
Because in my American brain, I assumed the Bible was English.
Right, and that's because you've only seen it in English.
Yes,
right. Yeah, but like Jesus was Jewish, so it was written back in Roman times. So it was written in a different language.
Okay, and what Bible do you use at your church?
We don't have a set version. We use I have a preference. I prefer either using New King James or ESV.
So is New King James is obviously different than King James.
It's just updated speech. It's instead of saying
that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, it's just updated text.
Okay.
Yeah.
See that
and some people prefer the these
why
and nows.
Why do they need to do that?
And some people prefer the these and nows because it makes them feel holier.
Yeah, it makes it sound more like God.
Behold, the Lord saith to thee.
Yeah, it makes it sound more God.
Yeah,
like God said it.
And it does not change the point or the message of the Bible. That's my point. The Mormons, they have their own thing that they're not. That's a whole different topic. The Catholics actually have. I think it's 5 extra books, but they're not doing the same thing the Book of Mormon is. I haven't read I would read the Catholic ones that they have. I don't know what's in them. That's why I say I would read them. I don't like. I'm curious as to like what's in them. I think they're in the Old Testament. But yeah.
Okay, so really random question. Real random question.
Yeah.
Is Santa Claus biblical? What's the deal with Santa?
Oh, you're saying like, okay.
Like, what is this Santa thing? Is that
like
biblical?
Saint Nicholas?
Yeah, is that biblical? Like,
no. That would be way after. That'd be way after Bible times. That'd be like.
Okay, so that's just a thing.
I mean, you can look that up.
That's just a thing that we made up.
Yeah, you can look up like who was Saint
Nicholas. If
Nicholas.
there's any kids watching, Santa Claus is real. But is that just something we made up? You know,
yeah. Well, no, he was a real. I think he was a real person. I mean, if we were on the Joe Rogan podcast, that's when they like pull it up on the screen. Like,
right, they
who
always
was Saint Nicholas.
And one day we will get there to like this fat white. Because hell, once a year I am Santa. So I mean,
kind of look like him.
Right.
You eat enough cookies to be.
Dye my beard white, dude.
Yeah, you have a picture with the local Santa.
I have a picture with the Santa back when I was a hefty 260.
You look so
I was
different,
gaining on him too.
Alright, who was Saint Nicholas? Yeah, he was a real guy. He was whoa, this is old. He died. He was born in 270.
270.
270, and he died in 343. Is that right?
Whoa.
That seems
Who
right.
was he? What was
He
the
seems
deal?
right. He was he was. I mean, he would have been a Christian, and he would have been. I mean, he would have been. I assume what was Catholic at that time, which I'm not sure when Catholics started believing what they
Catholicism?
believed. Catholicism.
There it is.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to read up on who he was. But anyway.
Okay, and then so
I guess
don't they always say Christmas is Jesus' birthday?
Yeah.
And then
It's
New,
the day
New
we
Year's
celebrate.
is-
It's the day we celebrate him being born. The Bible doesn't say when he was, but that's not to say a historian didn't write it down or something. I don't know.
and then
I don't know if that date is actually like back. It could be. I don't know if it actually is. I guess I assume there's some grounding as to why it is when it is.
Because isn't New Year's the rebirth or
Oh, you're saying like Easter? Easter. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
Easter-
New Year's is
Easter-
nothing.
No, it's just the beginning of the new year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I had it back.
There's no like religious ties there, but yeah, Easter would be celebrating his like death and resurrection. Specifically his resurrection.
So when was the death?
So he died when he was like 30 something. Jesus died when he was 30 something. He was crucified.
Yeah.
And then he said this. He said this to the Pharisees and to his like the multitudes, and he suggested it multiple times that he was going to be raised on the third day, and he was. There's
The third
evidence,
day after death.
Yes, after he was crucified, he was put in Joseph's not his dad, different Joseph. He's put in Joseph's tomb, and he was raised again. He came back. So and then he ascended to heaven, but he had eyewitnesses after his resurrection. And what's interesting is, and people were like, well, you have zero evidence that he came back to life. Well, what's interesting is the skeptics, the people that hated Jesus at the time, the Pharisees, there's no documentation that they had pushback that he, like, that
There was no
empty.
dispute.
There was no dispute. They didn't have a comeback to that. In fact, they started arguing over other things. Like, there wasn't any of this, like, so they were scared that Jesus' disciples were going to steal his body. And so they got Roman soldiers, and they had a seal. They could tell when somebody had tampered with it. And they like set these guys up, and they made sure it was guarded. And reading the encounter is very interesting, but like basically there was like an earthquake and the sky went black, and like it was crazy. And then he came back to life.
See, all that is that's so hard to believe.
Okay.
Like,
I'm doing a
I
really
don't-
bad job of telling that story.
I don't think I have.
Just go read it. Just go read it.
I don't think I have the power to just poof believe that.
No, and I understand where you're coming from. That's the thing. I'm simply saying that there is more evidence to believe that there is a God, right? You're saying, do I believe in? You say you don't believe in a God. That's our first step. We should focus on that, like, because you have no grounding to need to believe, like whether Muhammad was his prophet or whether Jesus was the Son of God. You don't have any grounding. Muhammad is you know who Muhammad is, right?
Ali?
That guy. Muhammad is who the Muslims believe is Allah's prophet.
Okay.
So yeah, I was making a Muslim reference there, but you don't have any reason to believe that because you don't believe that there's a God, right? So I guess what I would say encourage you to do is to take it seriously, because of the implication. There is lasting, eternal implications to being wrong about there not being a God. I mean, yeah. It sounds all complicated. It does. I understand, like, confusion there, but I mean, there is hours upon hours upon hours of like podcasts. Like, if you want to like get into like, do you trust the Bible? Why should you trust the Bible? Is it accurate? Or evidence for a creator, like evidence for a designer, evidence for a God. Like, is there a God? There is plenty of evidence out there that you like. YouTube. I could send you YouTube videos. Tons of evidence out there. And Jordan, like, I was watching a video with Jordan Peterson. He was talking about the evidence for a designer. Like, there's people out there that don't believe in a God. So, do you know what the term agnostic means?
No.
Okay, so atheists would believe that there is no God. Agnostics would say, we don't know. We don't know if there's a God. Like, they wouldn't say that there's not. They would just say, I don't know.
Kind of like me.
So you'd consider yourself. I think what you'd say is that you're an agnostic atheist, meaning that you don't think there's a God, but you like there could be. Maybe.
I don't firmly believe either way.
Yeah. And agnosticism is a better place to be because atheism is making the bold statement that there is no God. There's no evidence for a God. That's simply false. Like, it's not a clear-cut issue. Like, there is evidence that points to a creator that like even evolution doesn't have a good way of explaining. Like naturalistic laws do not have a way of it. You know what naturalistic means? Like a natural way of happening.
Okay,
There's no way for the universe to naturally occur. It needed an outside force, all-powerful outside force, to like basically start the universe. Basically, like it needed uncaused first cause.
What do scientists say about Big Bang Theory?
Like the Big Bang itself.
Yeah,
they agree that it happened.
So they agree that it's unexplained, that this thing just happened. And
so
all we can do is study from then on.
Exactly. In fact, time itself is dependent on the universe, so time did not exist before the Big Bang. Which is very interesting. Like, it literally came from nothing. Like, it came from a single point to, like, just, like, everything.
Okay. I don't know exactly how long we've been going, but, and this is a whole other rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We don't have to kill it, but I need to know, this may sound so stupid. How do Christian believers with a God, what's their opinion on aliens? Like life on other planets? Is that in y'all's...
I love how, like, off topic.
No. But that can be so... If the Big Bang happened here...
Right.
Who can say that there wasn't a Big Bang on Mars?
Okay, the Big Bang would cover Mars, right? Like, Mars came from the Big Bang, too. Everything in the universe came from the Big Bang.
Okay, yeah.
Right, but I understand
didn't happen there.
Like, why is there life here and not over there? Like, why do we see other life?
How do we know it's not?
We don't, well, if you follow the evolutionaries, like, even Christians, like, there's nothing in the Bible that says there's no aliens. So, yes, technically speaking, yes, there could be
Now
aliens.
we're talking!
Yes.
Now we're talking!
Yes, there's nothing in the Bible that I know of that says that there can't be. Is it... could God have? I mean, yeah. Yeah, he could have. He's all powerful. Yeah. I don't, like...
But
the implications of that aren't so... So the reason it means so much to, like, atheistic or naturalistic scientists to find aliens is because they think... I'm speculating here a little bit, but I think that they think that if they found life on other planets, it takes away from what are the chances that we it would increase the likelihood of it not having a creator. basically, I think is what they're thinking. Which it doesn't. That just means that those had a creator too. Like, it doesn't take away from the complexity of life itself, like, just because it happened somewhere else. Like, it can't just happen by itself. We never see. We cannot do this in a lab. We can't make it happen. We can never get non-living things like dirt and rocks and minerals to become a living thing. We cannot do that. It's never been observed. And yet, that is a core belief of Darwinists and evolutionists, is they're like, oh yeah, like one day dirt decided to have lungs. Okay, that was like I jumped a process there.
Yeah.
But like, that never happens. We've never observed it. It's unscientific to believe that, and yet here we are, they believe it. They believe in a miracle. Explain that.
Have you seen... Okay, now this is a wild statement. You know Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah. I think he's hardcore atheist. Like, hardcore.
I think he's hardcore, whatever the hell he wants to be.
Yeah.
But Neil deGrasse Tyson has stated on the Joe Rogan Experience that the universe and how many galaxies there are in the universe is so big that there is another Joe Rogan at another table just like this, sitting with another Neil. He said the universe is so big that is a thing. And now that...
Yeah. That goes into
like,
a whole different thing.
Yeah,
that goes into, like, I have zero understanding when it comes to any of this. I just heard people's opinions on this. Basically, I believe that there is things that are impossible to happen in, like, the universe by chance. Like, I think that it is impossible, pretty much. I think it's impossible for what we know as life on this planet to come about out of nothing by itself, unguided by any hand of a sovereign being or nothing. It just happened. I find that impossible. I think that is impossible. And what atheists will do is they're like, well, it's just a super low probability, like mind-boggling, like you could win the lottery a gajillion times in a row. And that is still less probable that the Earth would be what it is today by itself. Like, and atheists will be like, well, that's just really low probability. What they'll do is they'll get theories like, oh, there's an infinite number of universes, and then in some of those universes, it came out just right, and we have life. Well, just because there's an infinite number of universes doesn't make the impossible less impossible. You see what I'm saying? Like, if it's impossible in this universe, it's going to be impossible in all the other universes, according to these laws of nature, right? It still needed an uncaused first cause. That just pushes the problem down the road. It needed a creator to start life. It needed a creator, like, and for instance, and I guess one of the reasons I would lean towards creationism, like we were talking about earlier, like God creating everything, is because there's things that evolution doesn't explain. Like, for instance, like a microphone, or like, no, like, okay, sorry, that was not a good example. Like an ear, right? Let's use something even more specific. Let's use an eye. Your eye either works or it doesn't work. There's no way for your eye to slowly evolve over time, right? It can't just one day, like, say there was somehow life somewhere on this planet. It couldn't just, like, slowly evolve eyes, because that would, like, it would need a
You're
function
saying
for
how
that.
an eye came to be.
Right. Like, the eye needed to evolve.
Okay, that's like saying in a million years from now, rocks can see. Like, okay, but how?
Yeah.
Like, how? What evolution made a rock see? Like,
basically, yeah. But, like, the evolutionists say it's all random. Like, everything's just random. Survival of the fittest is right. Like, that makes sense. It makes sense to, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Survival of the fittest is 100% real. But their thing, that does not explain how an organism with no eyes slowly evolves eyes. Either the eye works, and it helps the creature live, or it doesn't work.
Like they'll
and
say...
that would never evolve. Like, it can't evolve something like that.
like they'll say that the creature needed to see for survival, so they slowly.
Yeah, but that starts off with the creature seeing, like.
How
does
like,
that
eyeball
happen?
just like
It can't. That can't happen. We don't observe that happening. We observe microevolution. Microevolution is survival of the fittest, though.
this yeah.
But it gets super technical. That's not my point is. You can see all this and it gets confusing. My point is that all that evidence points to there being a designer. It points to there being a God. All this stuff that we see, it can't happen from nothing. It can't come from nothing. There had to be something that started it.
Yeah, I mean that I can't disagree with that,
and
because I can't explain nothing.
Right. And I'm not doing a very good job myself.
But it in
trying
to
explain what I'm trying to explain at least. But I don't know. Did that make any sense there?
Well, yes, but it's I don't understand 90% of what you say because it's probably the first time I'm hearing it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But I have heard every word you've said.
Yeah.
Since we sat down.
Yeah.
What time is it?
I'm scared to look.
Yeah, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
That was
I guess my encouragement would be just stay open and honest with the facts. Don't be scared of facts. Right? And don't live your life just I'm going to live how I want to live. If there is eternal implications, if I am right, I mean, it has implications. I don't know.
There's a valid point there. That's why I'm 24 years old, and it's not like you're the first Christian person I've had a conversation with.
Yeah.
How has no one ever said it that way?
I got that from somebody else. I didn't talk.
Who did you get that from? A personal person or someone you heard?
Because I think I heard it at Bible school.
Why has no one?
I heard it at Bible school, but there was I'm sure there was a Christian way smarter than me that said that. And to be clear, that is not a reason to be to believe in a God. That's not evidence for a God, right? We shouldn't believe out of fear that there is a God, right? But I would just say that encourages us to be honest with the truth. Let's not just brush off, there's no God, man. Let's take it a little more seriously than that. There is kind of serious implications of if there is a God or not. And we didn't even touch on morality. That's a whole different argument, but we probably shouldn't start that if we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, that, man.
There's a whole argument for God out of morality, actually. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but that's a whole different way of explaining that there is a God.
So what? On a kind of a different note, aren't you doing something similar to what Dexter's doing?
Yeah. Well, Dexter's he's at an orphanage down in Mexico for mission work, and I'm doing something similar to that. I'm working at a boys' camp.
Where?
It's in Pennsylvania. And
so is this have to do with a Mennonite thing, or is this just a kind of a ritual you're following?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's you mark it up to being a Mennonite thing. It's a Christian thing, right?
That a young man needs to devote a little bit of his young life.
Oh, no, that's not mandatory or anything. We're doing that because I God calls us. I believe that in the Bible, God calls us to live outside of ourselves, right? We're not just to be selfish and just to constantly focus on what I need, we're called to spread the good news of the gospel. I believe that's true. That's why I feel we should be calling people to believe in this, right? I'm not just saying this.
Yeah.
And then we're called to help the needy. That is a Christian duty that Jesus tells us to do. and like help the And these kids don't have like functional families. They're coming from broken homes. They're coming from the foster care system, and basically it's an opportunity to just speak, like just to be there for them, to love them in a way that their family didn't. Basically,
no one ever has.
Yeah, and to teach them core truths. Like they don't know. They're like a lot of these kids are not coming from places that they've learned how to get along with anybody. Like they're just constantly in trouble at school. They're beating kids up. Maybe they're getting beat up. Like they have no way of problem solving, and this is just encouraging them and helping them like grow in that way.
So is Dexter down there in a way teaching?
Yeah. But he's also, I would say, yes, he's teaching.
He's being a role model.
He's being a role model, but he's giving those kids something they've never had, and that's like a loving family, basically.
So he's living in they're in like a bunker, like in a like.
They're not locked. Like they go out to town.
I didn't mean locked up. I didn't mean locked.
No,
I just meant like, are they all in a house?
It's not juvenile detention. That's
like,
what I meant.
Like bunk beds everywhere, and they're all just like together.
Yeah.
Or is he in like a?
They
town?
operate as a family. Yeah. They like operate like they would live in the same like they would all live like pretty communally. Like I think they have bunk beds.
And they go to like they have a job they do together or
yeah, so the kids would go to school. This is where Dexter is, but like they would all go to school together, like the kids would. Some of them, I think Dexter is like they're looking for jobs for the ones that are getting too old for this, like the orphanage system. Like when they're become independent, you see they're looking for jobs for those kids that are getting like aging out of the system. Yeah, like they do life together. They learn how to relate to each other, and what Dexter's doing is different from what I'm doing, because the people that he's taking care of literally do not have family at all. Like whereas,
so who do they live with besides Dexter? Just
no one. They're orphans. I mean, it's an orphanage. Like they're alone. They would have been out on the streets with the cartel.
That house is just there because someone pays for it and puts it there for that, or
yeah, like it's a ministry. Like churches would fund it.
Jesus Christ.
But like if that wasn't there, those kids would literally not have a home.
Sheesh.
No one to take care of them, no one to teach them, no one to care for them, no one to love them.
Dexter's just dropped in the middle of it.
And that's why we're doing it, because like if nobody was willing to go out there and do it, those kids would literally be starving, hungry on the streets. Maybe worse. Like they would be like with the cartel killing people. Like there's not a good alternative to that. Like we have to do that.
Did they know that? Like, did those kids know? Like, hey, this kid is coming from Georgia to stay with us. Like, or does Dexter just walk in and be like, "Yo"?
Basically that.
Like,
basically that. I don't
did
think
they know that he's there for that?
Yeah, I mean they know that why they're there.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when are you going?
I'm going in October. Yeah. Going to October.
That's getting close.
19th. Yeah. So I need to hit my weight goal for the gym before I leave.
Yeah, we're going with. Okay, can we completely? What time? Can we completely turn this conversation for a few minutes? Like, let's just completely talk about something else real quick.
Yeah.
Because I hit the gym with Carter today.
Yeah. Carter
is look. I'm not going to use this word right, but it fits Carter. Carter's a specimen. This guy. Okay. Do you know in today's session we hit back and shoulders?
Yeah.
We didn't really talk a whole lot. I put in both earbuds. He put in both because he was over there doing something. You know the bars that already like have weight already on them, like the pyramid, the bars. He was doing rows with the bars, and if Carter watches this, he's definitely gonna say something at work. But he's definitely not gonna watch this because
Carter.
I'm not posting a link to this on Snapchat. I want this to be YouTube viewers. He is doing rows with those with like an easy curl bar, weighted bar, and I'm like, okay, and he's doing rows like leaned way up, pulling like this. Like you see me do rows, I was bent over, pulling like through my back.
Yeah,
and he was standing up doing like a Yates row or something, and then I was like, all right, back and shoulders, that kind of makes sense. I did a shoulder stretch. I'm warming up. I'm taking the 30s incline presses with dumbbells, and I'm taking the 40s, 50s. I'm doing sets of 4 or 5 just to get the motion, get everything in. And I grabbed the 70s, which is a working set for shoulder press, like high incline.
Yeah.
And I'm doing 5. 5 is pretty intense because it's heavy. So I'm doing 5, and I'll put them down. And I will see bro doing like 20 lateral raises. And I'm like, okay. And
Sounds painful.
And then
Which,
and then I do 3 sets of 10 lateral raises because I go pretty heavy.
if you're going to failure, though, that sometimes happens when you misjudge the weight.
Yeah, so that's my thing. So we get to where he comes over and he's like, all right, I'm going to go do lat pull down. I was like, you going to do any shoulder press? And he was like, I was like, why are you not going to do shoulder press? That's like your core shoulder movement.
Yeah.
Like that's, and he was like, well, I'm not trying to get that big. And I was like, why are you doing all these reps? Like, why? We go to the lat pull down, he's doing 15 reps. And it looks like he could do 20. And I'm like, why are you doing all these? You say you want to be strong and athletic. That is what he has told me to my face. He wants to be strong and athletic.
To be fair, doing anything consistently in the gym, you're going to see benefit.
No, he's going to see benefits from anything, but he is training more hypertrophy than strength.
Yeah.
Like, way more.
Yeah.
And every time I say something about it, I'm like, Carter, why? I did my shoulder press.
To be fair.
I did my shoulder presses, and I was sitting there, and I was like it was intense. And I looked around, and I was like, I just got the intensity from five reps that you get from 20. And he was like, yeah, but I'm not trying to get that big. I was like, 20 reps is more hypertrophy than 5
you're going to get
reps.
bigger off of that.
Why, if low reps get you so big, explain Anatoly. Brother weighs 180 pounds. Like, explain.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really talked. He's new to the gym.
I know, so that's why I'm like, who told you this stuff?
Well, he did. He started doing some of that on his own. Like he does the when you're talking about like where he has the
rows.
Fixed weights. Yeah. He started doing that one on his own. Like Brock taught us how to do rows on the row machine, like the weighted row machine.
Yeah, the cable.
The cable.
Yeah,
the cable machine. And so he was just swapping it up, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. Like he's new to the gym.
He needs to
he
focus
didn't have it
on
all
being...
figured out when.
No, I still don't have it all figured out.
It took Brock like a year to figure it out. So he's figuring it out. He'll get it figured out.
Yeah, but imagine his strength gains if he.
Yeah, strength gains. But if you do 8 to 14, that keeps you in the hypertrophy range where you're gaining building, and it keeps you in the strength range. If you go any more than that, you just go hypertrophy, and if you go any less than that, you're in just powerlifting.
There's going to be some strength there. Not a whole lot, because his rest periods are very short.
Sometimes you just want to get out of the gym.
I mean, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But the volume for strength is way lower than the volume for hypertrophy.
Yeah.
That's the main separation there is volume.
Man, just split this into 2 podcasts.
You're right. No, intensity is both. Powerlifting is intensity. Bodybuilding is intensity. But the volume is huge.
Yeah.
There are no bodybuilders that do 3 sets of 5 and get massive. You don't go in there and do 3 sets of 5 bench
and
your chest is huge.
Yeah.
But those guys get so damn strong.
Yeah. And my powerlifting is not my goal. I do want to be strong, but I'm not looking to be I'm not looking to break any records or anything.
I'm still just having fun because today I did incline dumbbell shoulder press is a bodybuilding movement.
Yeah. Are you doing any calisthenics still, or you stopped that?
Oh yeah, yesterday I did legs, and I would do I did heavy legs, so I did no more than 5 reps, pretty heavy. I did 245 for 5 for 3 sets, and between each one I would just do a solid 10 push-ups, just perfect form.
Yeah, perfect form. Yeah.
I'm not I'm not trying to get a pump. I'm just I want to be good at push-ups. Just do push-ups.
Did I tell you I went down to Louisville to work out with a buddy last night?
Huh.
Yeah, I went down to one of the gyms in Louisville
as a guest,
and we just worked out together, and he was even more so than Brock. Brock's pretty picky about form. this guy was like, it's good. Like, I think he has it figured out because he watched YouTube videos and stuff. But he was like scientific about how like exactly how you want to like do your stuff. Like he was teaching me like, I think he taught me like well with the what's it called? Lateral raises. I think I was actually doing them wrong in that it wasn't isolating it completely. Like he was showing me how you like want to like open out your chest a little bit.
Yeah.
And like put out your chest and like
I'm
like stand at a certain
you
posture,
like,
lock your
kick
elbows.
your chest up. Yeah.
And it did. I could the second he told me to do that, I could feel it isolate.
Oh, for sure. But when you do it that way, I got to grab like the 15s.
Oh yeah.
Like you're
you're not.
I'd be doing the 30s, like slight ego lift.
Yeah.
You know?
It's that perfect combination between like you're actually getting something done, ego lifting.
But
you don't feel stupid.
Yeah, so before that alarm interrupted us, we can wrap it up real quick. But I feel like once you do that strict form, like, where the hell are the strength gains? Because it's going to take you a while to do that with 25s.
I was telling Preston the other night, like, when we were riding back, it's like, if I do understand doing perfect form like that.
For size.
Well, okay, but if you're going to be in the gym and you're going to be doing the workouts anyway, you might as well focus on doing them with it, like, where you get as much gain from them as possible. Like, if you're going to be in there doing it anyway, you might as well.
Yeah, but that's mainly size.
Yeah,
because
you
are isolating that side delt.
Yeah, but
I'm not trying to isolate it. I'm trying to build strength to press weight up in the air.
Yeah, but you still want to use right form though, or like proper form, right? No.
I don't lateral raise a lot anymore. That's why I'm doing a lot of compounds. Like most of my shoulder days are just a bar, and I'll like hoist my body just a little bit to get it up because I'm focused on moving that weight up.
Yeah.
I'm focused on being able to push up more weight. I'm not focused on like I ain't doing all that.
Yeah.
Like I'm focused on having my body be strong enough to get that weight up. So it's different.
Yeah. No, it is different. Yeah. And powerlifting is cool. It's just that it's not exactly what I want to be doing, but yeah.
Well, it's just like you don't even know my name. Laith McDad.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's got. Have you seen the guy where it's like, excuse me, boss, I'll give you $100 to beat me at any lift of your choice. Have you seen that guy?
Mm-hmm. Maybe I haven't.
He's blown up on social media.
Yeah.
And he's done 2 years of solely bodybuilding. He's maybe like, if I had to guess, he's around 5'10". He's probably 190 pounds.
Yeah.
Pretty solid build.
That's a pretty solid build right there.
Pretty solid.
I mean, I don't know his fat, but yeah.
Like you could look him and find him eat, but don't watch any videos. Once you watch one of his videos, that's all you see. Whoop! Just that he takes over. But he always does these challenges of people, and he's like, you remember I went to the gym with y'all and did shoulders? I showed y'all the barbell overhead press that I do.
Yeah.
I cannot do that with 145. That's a plate per side. That's a 45 per side.
Yeah. This
guy goes in there. And this guy is just like jacked, like 6 foot shredded, jacked, boulder shoulders, black guy, whatever. And he's like, I'll give he was doing shoulders, and he was like, all right, let's do military press, which is the name for a barbell regular. And they went into it, and they put 270. They both okay. 135, they both did it. 185, they both did it. 225, they both did it. They put on 275, which has so far been my squat max. And the one guy couldn't get it up.
The question is, did they put 405 on it?
No. He couldn't get it up. And then Laith goes up there with the 275 and, like, gets it up. Do you know how strong you have to be to overhead press 270? Not on a Smith. This is a free bar. You're stabilizing.
Yeah.
Your lower back strength, everything. You know the brute strength that takes. And what I'm getting to here is the funny thing is there's this guy. I swear we're going to wrap it up. There's this wrestling guy. That's like 5'8".
Yeah.
Kind of stalky. Have you seen his videos where he challenges people to take him down? I don't know his name.
Okay.
He challenges anyone to take him down.
Okay.
And he challenged Laith. And it was like embarrassing. Like Laith couldn't do nothing for him. Like nothing. So it almost shows, and you can tell this guy lifts weights, but average.
Yeah.
He's got maybe like 18% body fat.
Yeah.
He's just a skilled wrestler.
Yeah.
And
Well, it does take skill. Like,
It goes to show, like, that freaking strength, if you don't know what... I'm sure if he did that weight...
If you're not trained, you don't know how to use the strength, though.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So if it's like, because a lot of people start lifting weights because they get bullied and they're insecure about their size and all this.
Yeah, you'd be better off learning, like, going to martial arts or something.
because that's not really helping you.
Yeah. Yep.
And getting big and bulky does nothing but ruin your mobility.
Yeah.
Because it does. You will never be...
It does increase the intimidation factor.
You are right, but if I worked on flexibility for the next 10 years but also took TRT and got jacked, I still wouldn't be as flexible as you. I'd be as flexible...
Yeah, you'd be like...
I would be as flexible as I could be to be that big. But I still wouldn't.
Just say goodbye to scratching your back.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
But you want to go ahead and wrap this up?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I have people that I told that I was going to be there at 5 minutes ago.
Dude, just tell
But
them.
hey, it was good. It was good.
Just tell them the podcast took over.
Yeah.
We started talking about Jesus, then lifting weights, and
Yeah.
I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
good.
locked in after that.
Yeah, that was good. Damn.
All
I
right.
hope somebody watches that and enjoys that because I enjoyed that
Yeah,
conversation.
I enjoyed that. That was fun.
It's amazing no one else wants to do it.
Yeah, and I enjoy conversations like that. So it's like,
We went deep in that first one.
Yeah.
Went deep.
Yeah. Which I don't know if you're going to split this into 2 podcasts. You probably could at this point.
Nah, I'm gonna make it one. I just gotta edit out where my alarm went off.
It's like, yeah, what are you going to title that? Like God, Jesus, and lifting weights?
Did God lift weights? If God is real, did he lift weights?
Well, we didn't even cover that, but I mean, maybe next time.
I don't know. All right, we'll catch y'all later.
Peace.